Hey there, my amazing royal watchers. I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. Welcome to another episode of Untold Royal Secrets. It's your favorite royal critic back here again, coming to you with some absolutely explosive royal news that's been sending shock waves through the palace and beyond. Grab your cups of tea, settle in, and prepare yourselves for what might be the most significant development in the Sussex saga yet. Prince William has had enough. That's right, folks. The future King of England has finally reached his breaking point with Meghan Markle and her puppet Prince Harry, and he's preparing a checkmate move that will leave the California grifters reeling. So now let me tell you, I've been telling you I've been covering this royal drama for years now, and I've never seen such clear signs that the tide is turning so dramatically against the Sussexes. The writing isn't just on the wall anymore. It's practically being shouted from the rooftops of Buckingham Palace. And at the center of it all is our beloved Prince William, who has been watching silently as his father tries to navigate this mess with compassion, but is now ready to step in and put an end to the Sussex circus once and for all. Did you catch those recent comments from royal experts predicting how Meghan will fare once William becomes king? Meghan Markle is going to be humbled very quickly. Those aren't my words, though I couldn't agree more. Those are the words of people deeply connected to Pallet as circles who understand the brewing storm that's about to engulf the Duchess of Montato. Let's step back for a moment and really understand the context here. We've got new polling showing that a staggering 97%, yes, 97% of British people want Harry stripped of his royal titles. When was the last time 97% of people agreed on anything? You couldn't get 97% of people to agree that water is wet or that the sky is blue. This isn't just public opinion. This is a national consensus that the Sussexes have betrayed everything the monarchy stands for and need to face consequences. And yet, King Charles, bless his heart, continues to take the high road. He's a father first and a king second. And despite everything Harry has done, from that dreadful opera interview to the tell-all memoir that revealed private conversations, Charles still hopes for reconciliation. It's admirable, really, but as the experts are saying, it's not the approach William will take when his time comes. William has been studying at the foot of his grandmother, the late great Queen Elizabeth Roman II, learning what it means to put duty above all else. He watched how she navigated 70 years on the throne with dignity, discretion, and dedication. And now we're learning that even Her Majesty, the epitome of forgiveness and family unity, had reached her limit with the Sussexes. Can you believe what Hugo Vickers revealed? The Queen wouldn't meet with Harry and Meghan alone because she was afraid they would record her or take photos without permission. Let that sink in for a moment. The sovereign, a woman who had met with dictators and world leaders without fear, didn't trust her own grandson and his wife enough to be alone with them. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the Sussexes' character, I don't know what will. And it's not just the Queen. According to inside sources, King Charles insists that Queen Camilla be present for any interactions with Harry. The same Queen Camilla that Harry Cry referred to as the villain and the wicked stepmother in his book. The same Queen Camilla who has been nothing but dignified in the face of years of abuse, never once striking back or telling her side of the story. This is the woman who needs to be there as a witness because the King of England doesn't trust his own son not to record their private conversations for Netflix content. The humiliation of it all is staggering. Remember the Sandringham summit, that critical meeting where the senior royals gathered to discuss the Sussexes' exit. Meghan wasn't invited. It wasn't because she was in Canada as they claimed at the time. No, according to these sources, it was because the royal family feared she would secretly record the meeting and leak it to the press. This wasn't paranoia. This was based on their experience of dealing with a couple who have consistently betrayed private family matters for profit. The contrast between the two royal couples couldn't be more stark. On one hand, we have William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, who have faced their own challenges this year with dignity and grace. Catherine's cancer diagnosis would have been the perfect excuse to retreat from public life. But instead she released that beautiful, heartfelt video explaining her situation to the public, acknowledging their concern, and promising to return to duties when her health permits. No drama, no victimhood, just honest communication and genuine strength. Then we have Harry and Meghan, who turned a family disagreement into a global media circus, who claimed to want privacy while signing deals with Netflix and Spotify, who professed to value family while systematically attacking the institution that gave them everything. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. Truly breathtaking. William has been watching all of this unfold while maintaining a dignified silence. But make no mistake, he's been taking notes, making plans, and quietly putting pieces into place for the day when he will have the power to finally address this situation once and for all. And we're already seeing signs of his strategy. As the report mentioned, William has been strategically appointing people who have had negative experiences with Meghan to key positions. Jason Nuff, who was instrumental in exposing Meghan's bullying of palace staff, now has a prominent role. This is a coincidence, my friends. This is calculated preparation for the day when William will have the ultimate authority to act. Let's talk about that bullying investigation, shall we? We all remember the shocking reports that emerged about Meghan's treatment of palace staff. Reports so serious that Buckingham Palace launched an official investigation. Staff in tears, people being humiliated in front of colleagues. A revolving door of assistants quitting after being unable to tolerate the work environment. And what happened to that investigation? It was completed but never released to the public. Why? Because King Charles wanted to keep the peace, to leave the door open for reconciliation. Do you think William will be so forgiving when his time comes? Not a chance. Those who know him describe a man who is fiercely protective of the institution, of his family, and of the staff who served the crown. He witnessed firsthand the damage Meghan did to people he respected and cared about. Do you think he's forgotten? Do you think he doesn't have a long memory for those who hurt the people close to him? William may be patient, but that doesn't mean he's forgotten. And let's not forget Meghan's latest insult, using her HR title on personal correspondence despite explicitly agreeing not to do so when they stepped down as working royals. This wasn't some innocent mistake. This was a deliberate flouting of an agreement made with the late Queen Elizabeth II. It was disrespectful when the Queen was alive, but to continue this behavior after her death, it's beyond contempt. William sees all of this. He understands that every time the Sussexes are allowed to exploit their royal connections without consequences, it diminishes the monarchy. It sends a message that agreements can be broken, that family can be betrayed, that duty can be abandoned all without repercussion. That's not the monarchy William is preparing to lead. So what might checkmate move entail? Well, royal experts have been dropping hints, and it's becoming increasingly clear that once William ascends the throne, the Sussex titles are living on borrowed time. But it might not stop there. There's also serious discussion about removing Harry, Archie, and Wyatt from the line of succession entirely. Now, some might argue that this would require an act of Parliament, which is technically true for changing the succession, but there are other ways to effectively neutralize their position. The monarch has significant powers through the royal prerogative and can issue new letters patent that would create a clear distinction between working royals and private citizens like the Sussexes. William could, for instance, decree that only working royals may use titles in commercial contexts. He could establish that children who have never participated in royal life and whose parents have chosen to raise them as private citizens in another country are not eligible for HR status upon the monarch's death. These wouldn't technically remove them from the line of succession, but they would clarify their status in a way that would effectively end the Sussexes' ability to monetize their royal connections. And here's where it gets really interesting. William would have overwhelming public support for such moves. That 97% approval rating for stripping titles isn't just a number, it's a mandate. The British public, who ultimately are the ones the monarchy serves, have made their feelings crystal clear. They are done with the Sussex drama, done with the hypocrisy, done with the attacks on an institution they hold dear. Even more significantly, William would have the support of the rest of the royal family. Queen Camilla, who has endured Harry's vicious attacks with remarkable dignity, would certainly back her stepson's decision. Princess Anne, always the no-nonsense royal who puts duty first, would undoubtedly approve. Even the typically reserved Edward and Sophie would likely support a move to protect the institution they've served faithfully for decades. The only potential voice of hesitation might be King Charles himself, whose fatherly love for Harry has sometimes clouded his judgment as monarch. But even Charles must recognize by now that his son has chosen his path and shows no signs of returning to the fold. The endless cycle of olive branches extended and then thrown back in their faces cannot continue indefinitely. Let's consider Meghan's position in all this. She married into the royal family, thinking she could rewrite the rules to suit herself, picking the glamorous parts while rejecting the duty and service that defines true royalty. When that didn't work, she orchestrated an exit that she believed would allow them to have their cake and eat it too. Royal status and connections without royal responsibilities. For a while, it seemed to be working. The Netflix deal, the Spotify contract, the book advances, all predicated on their royal connections rather than any demonstrated talent or expertise. But one by one, these ventures have faltered. The Netflix documentary was widely criticized as self-indulgent and one-sided. Spotify terminated their contract after just one mediocre podcast series. Harry's book, while initially successful, has damaged his reputation perhaps beyond repair. Now, Meghan finds herself in a precarious position. Her brand, such as it is, depends entirely on royal associations that William has the power to sever completely. Her American Riviera orchard lifestyle brand is essentially trading on the cash of having a duchess as its founder. Without that title, what is she? A former cable TV actress with a failed blog and a history of alienating both family and staff. The irony is delicious, isn't it? Meghan thought she was playing chess while the royals were playing checkers. She thought her Hollywood experience had prepared her for navigating the royal world. What she failed to understand is that the monarchy has survived for over 1,000 years by adapting, evolving, and occasionally removing threats to its stability. William, with his calm demeanor and thoughtful approach, has been playing the long game all along, and Harry. Poor manipulated Harry, what does the future hold for him, once the Golden Prince, the cheeky spare with the common touch who was beloved by the nation? Now a shadow of his former self, isolated from family and friends, dependent on a wife who has systematically dismantled his identity and replaced it with grievance and victimhood. Remember when Harry was the action man, the Apache helicopter pilot who served in Afghanistan, the founder of the Invictus Games who connected so naturally with veterans and service personnel. Where is that Harry now? Gone, replaced by a man who seems perpetually angry, who can only define himself in opposition to his family rather than by his own accomplishments. The saddest part is that there was a path back for Harry. Had he attended the coronation with humility, had he reached out privately to his father and brother with genuine remorse rather than through public statements and interviews, Had he recognized the damage his actions have caused, perhaps reconciliation would have been possible. Not a return to working royal status, but at least a restoration of family ties. Instead, he's doubled down at every opportunity. That disastrous BBC interview where he once again demanded security while simultaneously attacking the institution that would provide it. The ongoing lawsuits against the British government and media. The constant narrative of victimhood despite living in a 14 million mansion in Montecito with every privilege imaginable. William has watched all of this with increasing disappointment and, yes, anger. This is his brother, the person he once trusted above all others, now weaponizing their private conversations for profit. The person who should have been his strongest ally as he prepares for the burden of kingship, now actively undermining the institution he will one day lead. Is it any wonder that William has reportedly cut off all direct communication with Harry? According to royal sources, William refuses to even speak to Harry without witnesses present, fearful that any conversation will end up in another book or interview. What a tragic breakdown of what was once the closest of brotherly bonds. And let's talk about the impact on the wider family, because this isn't just about William, Harry, and Meghan. There are children involved. Innocent children who deserve relationships with their cousins, aunts, uncles, and grandparents. George, Charlotte, and Louis have effectively been denied a relationship with their uncle. Archie and Labette barely know their royal relatives at all. This is the true collateral damage of Harry and Meghan's scorched earth approach to royal relations. William and Catherine's children will grow up hearing about an uncle who betrayed their family for fame and fortune. Archie and Lilith will grow up isolated from their royal heritage, fed a narrative of victimhood and grievance rather than the truth about their father's choices. And what of King Charles, who has tried so hard to be both a loving father and a responsible monarch? He has extended olive branch after olive branch, mentioning his darling son in official statements, expressing his love for Harry despite everything. What has he received in return? More attacks, more revelations, more exploitation of private family matters for commercial gain. No wonder Charles has reportedly stopped taking Harry's calls. There comes a point where even the most devoted parent must acknowledge that their adult child has chosen a path that makes reconciliation impossible. Charles has reached that point, though it has undoubtedly broken his heart to do so. Queen Camilla deserves special mention here. After years of being vilified in the press, she slowly but surely won over the British public through hard work, genuine warmth, and an absolute refusal to complain or seek sympathy. She has been a rock for Charles, supporting him through the transition to kingship and now through his cancer treatment. And how has Harry repaid this woman who makes his father happy? By attacking her in his book, by portraying her as a villain in their story, by allowing his wife to spread rumors and innuendo about her. The contrast between Camilla's dignity and Meghan's behavior could not be more stark. One woman quietly earned her place through years of service and support. The other expected to be welcomed, celebrated, and catered to immediately. And when that didn't happen to her satisfaction, she orchestrated an exit that caused maximum damage to the institution. William sees this contrast. He appreciates Camilla's loyalty, her discretion, her willingness to put duty before self. And he sees in Meghan the antithesis of everything the monarchy represents. Self-promotion over service, victimhood over resilience, celebrity over duty. So when royal experts predict that Meghan Markle is going to be humbled very quickly once William becomes king, they are not just engaging in wishful thinking, they are recognizing the reality that William has both the will and eventually the power to end the Sussex exploitation of royal connections once and for all. The signs are already there if you know where to look. William's strategic appointments of people who have experienced Meghan's behavior firsthand. His absolute refusal to engage with Harry without witnesses, his focus on building a modern, efficient monarchy centered around working royals who understand the concept of service. Even William's public statements, few as they are on this subject, have been telling. When asked about Harry's safety concerns during a royal visit, William's response was a curt, "I haven't spoken to him for a while. Not I'm worried about my brother. Not we're trying to resolve this as a family, but a clear indication that communication has ceased." This from a man who is usually the epitome of diplomatic discretion. And Catherine, who was once close to Harry and welcomed Meghan warmly in the beginning, has maintained a dignified silence throughout all the attacks and insinuations. But those who know her well say she is fiercely protective of her husband and children, and deeply hurt by Harry's betrayal. She too will support any measures William takes to protect the institution and family she has dedicated her life to serving. The most revealing insight into William's thinking came after the Queen's death, when Harry and Meghan were in the UK. Despite being in the same country just miles apart, William extended only the most minimal of courtesies. A brief, awkward joint walkabout in Windsor that was reportedly his initiative, but conducted with clear boundaries and minimal interaction. This was William showing the world that, while he would do what duty required in terms of presenting a united front during a time of national mourning, the personal relationship was effectively over. That walkabout wasn't reconciliation. It was William demonstrating his ability to put duty above personal feelings. Exactly what Harry has consistently failed to do. So, what happens next? As King Charles continues his cancer treatment, focusing on his health and the stability of the monarchy, William is quietly preparing for the day when he will have the ultimate authority. He's studying the constitutional options, building alliances within the palace, and most importantly, demonstrating through his own conduct what true royal service looks like. When that day comes, and pray it's not for many years yet, as we all wish King Charles a long and healthy reign, Meghan's world will indeed be rocked. The titles that have been her meal ticket will be under direct threat. The royal connections that have secured multi-million deals will be severed. The ability to play victim to an institution that has largely restrained itself from responding will disappear as William takes a more direct approach. And what will Meghan have left? A lifestyle brand competing in an overcrowded market of celebrity products. A Netflix deal that's produced little of substance. A husband who has sacrificed everything for her and is increasingly showing signs of unhappiness and instability. It's not the fairy tale ending she imagined when she walked down the aisle of St. George's Chapel, is it? The truth is Meghan miscalculated badly. She saw the monarchy as an outdated institution that could be manipulated and exploited. What she failed to understand is that it has survived for centuries precisely because it can adapt and protect itself when necessary. In William, she faces an adversary who understands duty, who puts the institution above self, and who has the patience and strategic thinking to play the long game. This isn't about revenge or pettiness. This is about preserving an institution that means so much to the British people and the Commonwealth. It's about ensuring that the concept of royal duty isn't diluted by those who want the privileges without the responsibilities. It's about drawing a clear line between working royals who serve and private citizens who happen to be related to the monarch. William understands this in a way Harry never did. He knows that personal feelings must sometimes be set aside for the greater good of the institution. He knows that difficult decisions must sometimes be made to ensure the monarchy's survival. And he knows that his grandmother, who dedicated her life to service, would expect nothing less from him. So when experts predict that Meghan Markle is going to be humbled very quickly under King William, they are recognizing this fundamental truth. William will do what his father has been reluctant to do. He will put the institution first, even if that means taking decisive action against his own brother. The Sussex saga has been a painful chapter in royal history. It has caused untold hurt to family members who deserved better. It has undermined public confidence in an institution that provides stability and continuity in an increasingly chaotic world. It has exploited private relationships for commercial gain in a way that betrays everything the monarchy stands for. William's checkmate move, whenever it comes, won't be about punishing Harry and Meghan. It will be about closing this chapter definitively, about drawing a line under the drama, and about refocusing attention on the working royals who understand what service truly means. For Harry, this will be the final consequence of choices he has made. Choices that have led him further and further from the family and institution that gave him purpose and identity. For Meghan, it will be the reality check that many believe is long overdue. The clear message that royal status comes with responsibilities, not just privileges. And for the monarchy, it will be a necessary step in its evolution. A statement that while family is important, the institution itself must sometimes take precedence. It will demonstrate that actions have consequences, that agreements must be honored, that duty cannot be abandoned without losing the privileges that come with it. William has watched and waited as his father tried the path of reconciliation and restraint. He has observed the impact of the Sussex behavior on his grandmother during her final years, on his father during his transition to kingship, and on the institution he knew will one day lead. And he has concluded, as 97% of the British public have, that enough is enough. The day will come when William sits on the throne. When it does, the era of Sussex exploitation will end. The titles will be addressed. The line of succession may be clarified. The distinction between working royals and private citizens will be clearly defined. And Meghan Markle, who thought she could rewrite the rules of an institution that has stood for over 1,000 years, will indeed be humbled very quickly. It's not a question of if but when the checkmate move is coming. The game that Harry and Meghan thought they were winning is about to be decisively ended by a future king who understands that sometimes loving your family means setting clear boundaries and enforcing them. So, my royal watchers, what do you think? Is William right to take a harder line than his father? Will stripping titles be enough, or should Harry, Archie, and Lilith be removed from the line of succession as well? And what do you think Meghan will do when she finally faces the consequences of her actions? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on this royal saga. Until next time, keep calm and carry on supporting our working royals who continue to make us proud every single day.